Hello, welcome back to another segment in excerpts from A Spiritual Ascension. So, talking about performing your own self healing, which is going to be huge during your spiritual ascension journey. Um, there's going to be times along your journey. So, if you've been kind of following along with my um, journey, I've made a separate playlist and I'm telling my entire 5 year story of what happened to me during my ascension journey. And the way I'm going to, I think in another video, I kind of described it as being in a maze where um, you kind of go into this maze not even knowing that it's a maze. And so if you kind of put a, I hate to reference it this way, kind of put a mouse in a maze and watch them kind of move about, they're going to come to places where it's kind of dead ends, and then they have to kind of go reverse and then find another way to go and maybe have to reverse again. So this is where you're building up your intuition, okay? So during that time, you're going to get frustrated a whole lot. And there was times when it was a lot about survival for me. And was I going to be able to get through this part? And I never ever, it was living day to day and not knowing what the next day would be. And there came times, even though I was never in any harm, you're always protected. Um, it felt like many times I may have been in harm, but I never anything happened to me. Um, I forget where I was going with that. Sorry. um, Talking about healing. But just know, okay, so there we go. Just know as you're on this path, you're going to come to parts of it which are very extremely difficult. And after you go through these really like these highs of really hard, difficult times, and then you kind of come down and have accomplished that part of it, there's going to be a period where the divine says it's time for you to do some healing. Okay. Um, and I don't know, depending on your journey, depending on what just happened, it could be several weeks, it could be several days, it could be whatever. Okay. Um, but I say take advantage of that time because when you start on the next hill, it's going to take all your strength. Okay. So like just really relax. And I wanted to point out some things that you may be able to help you during that time of rest, okay, during your journey. I I'm a Reiki master, and kind of once I went into my journey and everything fell apart for me as far as, I wanted to open up a yoga studio and incorporate Reiki in it. And everything fell apart. I was kind of just so devastated that I didn't even want to think about any of that, which was wrong because that could have been a big part of my healing. Going forward, I ended up, if you're following along with my story, ended up with a karmic soulmate who put me through hell and back. Um, I needed to go through that in order to, so that my soul did not have to revisit that relationship in my next lifetime. So that was difficult. was for about 2.5 years that I was with this person. And until I recognized them for who they were, um, the release then happened. But I was going to say, while I was with that person, I seemed to get sick a lot. And I was always one that really didn't get sick that often. I might get a summer cold, being inside, outside, air conditioning. Hardly got sick in the winter time. So maybe like two colds during a year. I had gotten the flu a few times, even kind of before I really got into spirituality, and I was getting flu shots from my company every year. And so now when the pandemic hit and 2000, so this is 2020, and everyone was getting, the, I thought, okay, I still wasn't fully understanding what everything about this elevation. And actually, it was this family member who understood my spirituality in a way. And I had made an appointment to get um, that done. And she was kind of like, well, you're in a house. Do you really need it? And actually, in that way, she was helpful that I didn't end up getting that. But universe uses people in a certain way to talk to you to prevent you from doing possibly things that are not necessary or to guide you in a certain way. And that came up a lot later on as far as people coming into my life to help guide me on my path. So the kids that were there ended up getting um, hit with that, and but I never got it, even though I was around them in the house, very close quarters. Never got it. Later on, once I got here, um, I ended up, and I'll tell more about that story if you're following along. That's going to be a huge story, um, part of my story. I ended up getting a room in with two other people in, a house, and both of them got hit with I don't know if I could say that. Can you say that? Well, whatever the pandemic thing at that time. I have to check on that. As I know though, like, I don't know. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. But they both came down with it. Both were wiped out. I guess you're supposed to, it's like 10 days, you're supposed to stay away from everyone. And I remember the one person who I kind of had this spiritual conflict with. Um, I said to her, I said, I'm not going to get it. And she kind of looked at me, and I had already understood that there were things, and I don't know if it had anything to do with me having Reiki, having practiced Reiki, even though I haven't been really practicing. But I feel like those of us that have chosen this path already have this healing light within us. So when I was getting sick a lot before, when I was with this family member, having really serious colds and coming down with like the flu and stuff like that, I believe that was kind of like a release because then after that, I really didn't get, might have little sniffles or whatever, but I feel like that was my body just um, expending like, um, what do you say? You know, I can't find the words today. Expending like, I don't say negative energies or just debris or something along those lines. Um, I feel like because you are also raising your frequency closer to that of the divines, that your body is vibrating at such a higher level that those things can't come within your aura, right? And I think I've read somewhere where they spell disease as Disease, like dis-ease within your aura. And anything, when you don't have your aura fully intact, anything can kind of come in to your aura and kind of attack the body itself. So, kind of going off on a whole different topic there, but just wanting you guys to know that it's really important for you to take time to heal along your journey. Whenever you have those highs of really um, going through whatever it is that you're going to be going through at that time, and then you kind of come down from that, kind of conquer that hill, and kind of have that lull in the valley, however long that is for you at that time. So just thinking, I kind of wrote down a few things that I know helped me um, during these healing phases. Um, One of the best things is to meditate, right? Um, yeah, don't meditate, start meditating, even if it's just for 5 minutes. I know a lot of people, I know it, I still find it hard sometimes to not so much get there. Once I quiet my mind and sit still, like I can get there, it's just hard for me to make myself sit down and do it. You know what I'm saying? But meditation is one of the best things of just sitting still and being quiet. Um, Being in nature, walking in nature, just finding a spot in the trees, on the grass. Um, Next one would be, third one would be by water or in water. Even just getting in the shower, that's so healing. Getting in the bathtub, being in water, being by water. When I eventually left New York City to head north, I hadn't, again, like I hadn't had a car, like I had been in the city for 20 something years. So now I knew I was heading north and had to buy a car. And my first drive north, going up to Connecticut, and then I was going over to spend some time in Newport, Rhode Island first before I headed more north. And when I hit Rhode Island, just the water, and I was like, oh my goodness, like I had been there before, but it had been years and years, and just all the different bodies of water surrounding me that like instantly changed how I felt like leaving the city, even though the city is like surrounded by water, is not the same feeling at all. And right away, there was like this healing energy within me. Where I'm at now, oh my goodness, there's so many lakes. Like all you have to do is just ride up a road and there's some kind of lake or pond or stream. I live right by a river here. It's just, I'm surrounded. And then I have the ocean, nearby. So there's water. I'm surrounded by water. Let's see, what else did I have here? Water, meditation, walking in nature, right? I found also that listening to the 963 hertz is, especially when you're going through this awakening period, it helps you, with these changes. It's also going to help raise your consciousness, right? And also you're leveling up your ascension. as well as bring you more clarity, because you're going to question everything. Like, I don't know, understand what's going on, like spirit, with, like so many questions. And that's why it's really helpful for you to meditate so the answers can come in. And so listening to that 963 hertz is going to bring you that clarity also. So usually now, a lot of times I'll take a little break in the afternoon and just put my earplugs in and listen to that for a while and then drift off. And that really helped me after going through this 5 years to start my healing. Okay. Also, 432 hertz is really great for like emotional healing and having a deeper connection to the divine. So, last but not least, okay, those were in no particular order, but being in a state of gratitude, which once you understand that you are on this path, because in the very beginning, you're not going to understand what the heck is going on. You're probably going to go through this initial stage of losing everything that you once had, material things, people, situations. Again, it happened to me. I'm giving you my example. It's probably going to happen. I'm not going to say guarantee that it will. You may not, but understand that you are being birthed into a new life. So if you are on this journey, okay, and that's a good way to understand if you are or not, if you've lost everything, because you can't carry anything from your past with you, okay? Your past life is going to totally stay in the past. As I've been saying in a lot of my videos, things that I've had, um, everything that I had, I worked on Wall Street. I had, was making six figures. I had a apartment full of stuff, closets full of stuff that I didn't need, and all that's gone. I don't have any of that. I think from that time, 5 years ago, I have six items that I counted that, oh, maybe do I have six, seven? My original like tarot deck. Um, I don't know. But you're not going to bring anything with you. It's like you're having a rebirth. So your whole, as I always say, you're having two lives within one lifetime. You can't bring anything, anyone from that past life. I'm going to talk more about that in another video too, because I think that's important. Um, so as I was saying, being in a state of gratitude that wherever you are on your path, even if you feels like you've lost everything, that you don't have things that you used to have, being grateful for where you are at that point. Okay, that you have your life, that you've been protected, that spirit is feeding you, and I can't always say shelter, because as you're following my story, you're going to find out that didn't always have shelter, but there was a reason for that. Okay, and you may go through the same thing. Um, but never not being taken care of, I should say. Okay. But that's what's making you stronger. And that's why you were chosen, or you chose this path, because your soul had gone through so many lifetimes to gain this wisdom in order for you in this lifetime to be able to take all that knowledge, right? All that wisdom, and become a master of everything that you've learned. Okay. Hopefully that's making sense to you. But just always remain. And then when you get to a certain point, that's just who you are. You know, you're always in a state of gratitude. You know, even the littlest things I say, oh, thank you, Spirit, for, you know, whatever it may be, you know, that I have this, or that I can do this, or that going from that situation, as I was just saying, to now having, you know, a place that I could call home again. Okay. Gonna leave it there. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to talk to me about your own journey, if you would like a reading, um, there's a link below to spend to book time with me, and I will see you next time.